Here is what's coming up in today's Frontline compilation. Russian infantry roll into the fight balanced on bright blue kick scooters, hoping speed will mask their light armor. A Ukrainian FPV drone tracks the convoy inches above the mud, searching for the right moment to pounce. A Ukrainian utility truck grinds to a halt when the crew spots a kamikaze drone screaming head-on down the road. Boots hit dusty asphalt seconds before the camera flares white. Deep in the pine forest near Kreminna, Ukrainian special operators escort wounded prisoners when shadowed muzzle flashes snap from 5 meters away. Bodycam footage pitches left, then cuts mid-sentence. High above Kursk, a lone MiG-29 flashes silver before releasing a guided hammer that rides an unseen laser toward entrenched troops. The blast footprint will tell the rest. This is real footage, no effects, just raw moments from the battlefield. Subscribe to stay updated on every Frontline report and stick around to see it all unfold. Let's get into it. Helmet cam video from a squad of the 118th Mechanized Brigade shows their dismount under automatic fire on the edge of a tree belt southwest of Kreminna. Light armor, 2 ex-US M113 APCs, halts 20 meters short, ramps crash down, and riflemen fan left and right, firing short bursts to pin 2 Russian foxholes located by drone minutes earlier. Within 15 seconds, a grenadier is hit in the leg, a medic drags him behind a trunk, while a PKM gunner pours suppressive fire. The section leader pops smoke and the assault pushes into the shadows. Whatever waits deeper inside the trees remains unseen. Hunters from Ukraine's 110th Mechanized Brigade sweep a shelled orchard east of Osheretine for Russians cut off during the night retreat. Thermal imagery catches a lone silhouette crawling toward a drainage ditch. An FPV quad drops from 120 meters and detonates 10 centimeters behind his pack, the blast wave finishing the job. 2 minutes later, a pair of stragglers resting against a field berm are struck in turn, the operator selecting an ultra-short fuse delay to maximize fragmentation. As dawn breaks, the team edges north. The maze of ditches still conceals movement. A reconnaissance quadcopter of the 45th Artillery Brigade spots a Russian M21 Grad hidden under willows near Svatove. All 41 22mm rockets still in their tubes. One Excalibur round from an M777 8 kilometers away lands amidships. The sympathetic cook-off is immediate. A towering fireball shreds the chassis, warheads arc into surrounding fields, and a pressure wave jolts the drone's gimbal for 3 seconds. Crews scramble to retarget. As secondary explosions rumble on, debris is still detonating somewhere in the smoke. At dusk on 27th June near Sinkivka, a wounded Russian infantryman waves a ration wrapper at a hovering DJI Mavic flown by Ukraine's 3rd Assault Brigade. The operator call sign Boba transmits a surrender message through the drone's speaker and guides the soldier across a 2.1 kilometer stubble field marked with orange smoke. Midway, the quad drops a packet, half-liter water, energy bar, and 2 cigarettes taped to a tourniquet. 8 minutes later, the prisoner reaches friendly trenches. His debrief may map the mine lanes ahead. A midnight montage from the 47th Mechanized Brigade hammers Russia's supply chain on a sandy spur south of Verbov. In quick sequence, 3 ZIL 131 fuel trucks, a Ural stacked with 120mm mortar rounds, and a Kamaz field kitchen are hit by FPV drones armed with PG-7VL warheads. FLIR footage registers secondary fires peaking at 950 degrees Celsius, hot enough to melt brake drums and doom recovery efforts. Each strike lands 20 seconds apart, scattering support crews before they can fight the flames. Farther down the track, headlights glint. Another convoy is rolling into the kill zone. Russian scouts on 2 battered IZH dirt bikes idle down a farm track near Turney at first light, their engines loud enough to carry across the sunflower rows. A Ukrainian spotter from the 25th Airborne Brigade vectors an FPV drone loaded with a PG-7VL charge. The operator waits until both bikes stall at a hedgerow, then noses straight onto the lead rider's pannier. The blast scatters fuel cans and drops the passenger where he stands. The second bike bolts, but a follow-up quad swoops in from treetop height. Its warhead is already armed. East of Krinky, 2 Russian assault troops roll toward a berm on children's Razor of 5 kick scooters, each aluminium deck barely clearing the mud. The makeshift tactic shaves noise but not exposure. A Ukrainian Baba Yaga drone team from the 79th Air Assault Brigade orbits overhead at 90 meters. They release an RKG-3HE grenade modified with 3D printed fins. It lands between the scooters, folding both frames like tin. One rider crawls behind a concrete block, waving surrender. Unaware the pilot has spotted a fresh pair of scooters coasting along the levee. Minutes later, and 6 kilometers north, the Birds of Magyar platoon tracks a 3-bike Russian probe weaving through felled trees outside Avdiivka. Their custom Molfar FPV rigs carry 400-gram TNT cones salvaged from OG-9 rockets. First strike clips the lead Yamaha, pitching rider and bike into a drainage cut. Second warhead detonates beside 2 dismounts who thought the pines would mask heat signatures. The surviving scout darts into brush, but telemetry shows another drone already diving on his thermal bloom. A gun crew of the 28th Mechanized Brigade mans an improvised anti-drone post on a roof near Mykolaiivka. The machine gunner, call sign Liss, mounts a PKM with a PAGS 02 ring sight, calibrated for 200 meters. An approaching Lancet flashes on the tablet feed at 260 meters and closing fast. Liss leads a body length, fires 10 round bursts, and nicks a rotor arm on the third volley. The drone tumbles and detonates in a plume of insulation. A second tone sounds in the headset. Something bigger is descending from cloud base.
Yes.
ZS artillery observers of the 54th Mechanized Brigade monitor an abandoned rail spur south of Marinka, where 4 T-72B3s and 2 BMP2s regroup after a failed thrust. Using Swedish Arthur counter-battery radar and a PD-2 drone laser designator, they cue 6 M982 Excalibur rounds from dispersed M77s. The first shell penetrates a tank's turret ring. Seconds later, cook-off flames silhouette crews sprinting for a drainage ditch. Another round rips open the BMP ammunition bay, sending 30mm magazines cartwheeling. Dust still hangs over the column when the fire direction net orders a second fire mission. Dashboard footage from a lightly armoured Ukrainian HMMWV shows the patrol creeping along a poplar-lined farm road north of Vuhledar. A sudden radio call, Lancet inbound 30, freezes the driver. A Russian Zayla Lancet drone dives straight down the centre line. Its buzzing silhouette fills the windscreen. The squad leader kicks the rear doors and every soldier vaults into the verge seconds before the warhead slams home, flipping the Humvee onto its side and peppering the ditch with shrapnel. Counting off, the men sprint for a drainage culvert. The whine of a second engine is already rising overhead. Russian fiber-optic Mnogoznakhny drones unreel 5 kilometers of glass cable above Pokrovsk's eastern bypass, while their operators lounge in a basement 2 villages away. The live feed catches a pair of Ukrainian Kraz troop carriers halted at a rail crossing. As the barriers lift, 2 FPV quads streak from thin cloud, each lugging a tandem PG-7L-shaped charge. One penetrates the lead cab, igniting diesel and ejecting riders through the doors. The other slams the rear truck as survivors scatter. Smoke pools across the lens, but telemetry insists both vehicles still crawl, perhaps toward a hidden ammo dump. "12,000 feet over the Kursk salient, a Ukrainian MiG-29 of the 114th Tactical Aviation Brigade noses into a 10-degree dive. A 250-kilogram AASM Hammer gliding bomb, recent French donation, hangs under its port wing, receiving GPS updates every 2 seconds from a Bayraktar loitering nearby. The target, a Russian artillery battery, disguised beside a sugar beet silo. Pod footage records the bomb slashing through the roof, infrared blooms as propellant stores detonate. Seconds later, the pilot breaks east, chaff streaming. Their radar warning receiver just lit up with an S-400 search tone. Night vision clips assembled by Ukraine's 77th Airmobile Brigade condense 2 weeks near Kupiansk. Green orbs skim hedgerows, then blossom white where they strike. Each FPV airframe is barn-built, its flight controller epoxied beneath a surplus PG-9V rocket cone. Crews boast the whole rig costs less than a single mortar round. In quick cuts, they gut a Zu-23, cave in a trench roof packed with sleeping conscripts, and ignite a T-80's turbine, the exhaust forming a yard-high fire vortex. The montage freezes on a final frame, the next drone still perched on a launch rail. Sunlight flickers across a reservoir west of Novokakhovka, where a wounded Russian sapper paddles for a half-sunken pontoon, chest rig discarded. Overhead, a Ukrainian Mavic orbits with a 40mm VOG-17 grenade fitted with a wooden stabilizer. The pilot waits until the swimmer's head bobs clear, then releases. The grenade slips underwater for half a second before a muffled shockwave hurls the body skyward. Spray and mud cloak the shore, but two more silhouettes cling to reeds nearby. The drone banks left, arming a second drop. Twin 35mm Oerlikon KDA cannons thump inside a German-donated Flak Panzer Gepard dug-in near Kharkiv. Tracer arcs intersect a Shahed 136 suicide drone boring toward a regional substation. The gunner has selected AH-EAD programmable rounds, each dispensing 152 tungsten pellets 8 meters in front of the target. 3 airbursts shred the UAV, its flaming wreckage spiraling behind the tree line. Fresh radar returns ripple across the scope. The crew reloads, aware an entire swarm may be seconds behind the first victim. Fiber optic camera feeds from Russia's 1st Tank Army focus on an apparently abandoned Kozak 2M armored car outside Kupiansk rail yard, its passenger door hanging open. An FPV drone carrying a PTAB 2.5 KO bomblet punches through the windscreen. Overpressure blasts both rear doors wide, defeating the NBC SEALs. 30 seconds later, a second quad threads the opening and detonates inside, peeling 14mm steel panels like cardboard. Flames lick an ammo crate in the rear seat while operators zoom in, waiting for secondary blasts to betray hidden cargo. Helmet footage recovered from a fallen operator shows a 6-man Ukrainian Azov patrol escorting 2 injured Russian POWs along a logging road west of Kremina. A 3-man Russian recon element springs a near ambush from 10 meters, dropping the point man instantly. Grenades burst against timber stacks, spraying splinters. The patrol leader, callsign Sova, pulls a prisoner behind cover and radios for 60mm mortars. As suppressive fire cracks overhead, bullets creep closer. Either the enemy's flanking or more shooters have slipped into the kill zone. Bodycam footage from Ukraine's 93rd Mechanized Brigade trails their prototype Kasevak UGV, a tracked Themis clone nicknamed Bandage, trundling down an orchard lane with 2 litter cases strapped on top. A Russian Lancet-style FPV drone dives at 140 km per hour, guided by a relay quad 500 meters up, and smashes through the top hatch. The VKO-17 grenade inside fuses electronics and hurls the casualties clear. Operators kill the data link to stop a second strike, but thermal imagery already shows fresh heat blooms in the tree line. The exfil team must outrun the drones to safety. Thanks for sticking with us through today's unfiltered frontline footage. This is M6 Archive, always first on the front lines. Hit subscribe and share if you want more.